So the next thing is the overview. And remember, we're talking about all types of task one. All types of task one will follow this. Introduce it, give an overview, give the detail. Obviously, the overview and the detail is going to be given in different ways, but the structure is always the same. Always. So some people will put the overall as the sort of conclusion, and some people put it as the introduction. I kind of naturally would go introduction and then overall, but as long as it's there, it doesn't matter if it's as an introduction
at
or
the beginning or at the end.
Or at the end. It doesn't make any difference, depending on, I guess maybe depending on whether you like things to be tidy at the beginning or tidy at the end. I don't know. There's not a right or wrong way to do that one. So you will see different IELTS task one answers where some are at the beginning and some are at the end. As long as it's there, it really makes no difference. When you look at the information, what kind of stands out? What jumps out at you? Sorry, I've gone too far. Giving the overview, what stands out at you, and what, maybe it's a color, a big block of color, or if it's a process, maybe it's how many stages there are. But you want to give an overview of what's happening. Okay, so you don't have to give data if you don't want to, because you might want to put that in a bit later on. But what you want to do is talk about the main or obvious thing that you can see. So if we look at the picture, without looking at the data, what you can see is that the white is steadily going down. The
Rentals.
The DVD sales is kind of increases and then goes down. This one, the VHS decreases and stops, and then the Blu-ray starts, which, you know, is obviously reflecting the fact that no one rented VHS because no one uses them anymore, and Blu-ray was introduced around that time. So that's the kind of main things that you want to say. So overall, rentals have decreased. From 2002, where you could say they started at this point, and then they came down down here
successfully.
VHS completely disappears in 2006. Blu-ray starts in 2007. Oh, and I'm moving it. Sorry. And the DVD sales have peaked in 2007 and then have started to decline. Okay, so that's the main things that you want to say. So it's almost like what happens at the beginning, overall down to the end. So rentals down, DVD up and then decreasing, VHS disappearing, and Blu-ray starting. Okay, so that's your kind of overall things that you want to say, but you don't want to go into too much detail because that's what happens in the next paragraph. Start trying to look for them when you're editing your work, okay? Because in terms of, you know, sort of the work that you're producing, it is going to come down to task achievement and the errors, I think, now. So that might be something we can try and look at editing and sort of next week how we do that. So let's look at some model answers. Oh, what's going on? Because I've typed on this, I've messed up all my my formats. So here we go. We've got this is a type of example that you might get. You might get two pieces of information. Okay, we've got a graph and a table. Okay, If you get one of these, you have to support the main features of both. And you want to try and look at what's similar here, what's sort of overall happening here, overall happening here, okay? So this can be quite difficult. I certainly find these ones the most difficult for me, where you're trying to look at links between two different pieces of data, okay? So we've got the temperatures. This is temperatures. That's not clear there. This is temperatures of London, New York, and Sydney for a year. We don't know what year, but an average temperature. And these are the total annual hours of sunshine. Okay, so what I want to look at is, all right, so New York has the highest number of sunshine hours. So it should have, in theory, it should have the hottest temperatures, okay? Well, yeah, it does have the hottest temperatures, but is Sydney warmer overall? Okay, so that's kind of sort of questions you're asking. What can I see that is the same? So, or what is very, very obvious? So here's the model answer. So as you can see, paraphrase, overall, they found the links between the two. London, poor old London, only 1,000 hours of sunshine, and it's the coldest one on average, right? Pretty typical. And New York has the hottest summer up here.
Yeah.
Sydney,
July and August.
Overall.
And Sydney is the temperature are dropping.
But it's much more constant in Sydney. So it's got a warmer climate. So that's just the kind of overall. So these ones can be quite difficult. You've got to try and find some kind of link between this, the piece of information in one table, and the piece of information in the other as an overall. Then you can split them up and talk about, one table in this one and one table in the second paragraph. You don't have to compare them all the way through, but you definitely need to, in your overall, look for a link, look for something that you can find that fits together. So yeah, it's again, we've covered the requirements of the task, and we've presented a clear overview of trends and stages, and we've got well, this is obviously higher than a band 7 because it presents, highlights, and illustrates the key features clearly and appropriately. But in terms of what we're looking at, it's very clear the stages, okay? So this is what I mean by giving the examiner exactly what they want. Introduction, paraphrase, overall, details. That's what they want. Remember with the task 2, when we've said idea, expand, support. That's exactly what they're asking you to do. So what they're asking you to do here is present a clear overview of the main trends, differences, or stages, depending on the task, and clearly present key features. So introduction, main trends, details. All you have to do, okay? Do that, you're well on your way. That also is going to help you with your organization. Clear progression would be introduction, overall, details, or introduction, details, overall. What this also means with the organization is how the information is grouped together. So they've done temperature together here, which makes sense, and sunshine hours in the second paragraph, which makes sense. Yeah, so it's about how you, as we said in the PowerPoint, looking for trends that you can group together, okay? A bad answer will say, temperature in January was this, for New York, for London, for Sydney, and then in February it was this, and then in March it was this. But this answer picks out the key information. I don't want to know what's happening every month. I want to know that between January and February, it rises, and so does London. Okay, that's similar. Though New York rises more than London, this is a key thing that's happening. A key thing isn't what's happening every month, it's what's happening overall. So both of these are rising and peaking in the summer months and then falling. So New York is hotter and colder. So they've organized the information and they've picked out the key features.